Welcome. I'm excited. Today I have joining me, I have Frank Wagner and Chris Coffey. Both of you guys have worked with Marshall Goldsmith for over 30 years and have helped him develop and enhance the stakeholder-centered coaching process in a way that's made it incredibly successful. Thank you for joining me today, and I'm excited to spend a few minutes with you.
Thank you, Andy. It's always a pleasure to work with you, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Let me just comment on what Frank said. Thank you, Andy, and we look forward to the insightful questions you're going to ask, and hopefully Frank and I can add some value both for you and for the individuals watching this.
Thanks so much. So guys, here's the topic I'd like to speak with both of you today. Getting leaders to change behavior. It's an extremely difficult thing to do. Quite often leaders will take 2 or 3 steps forward, making improvements on a behavior, then before you know it, they're back to square one. So here's the question. Why is it so hard for leaders to change behaviors, and what can they do to get better at it?
It's hard for all people, whether it's a successful leader or whether it's somebody who's a drug addict. We are creatures of habit. And if you think about what we do as human beings, we only do 3 things. We think, we feel, and we behave. Behavior is the one thing we have to figure out. How do we control our behavior? I had a leader come to me and say, do you really think somebody my age can change? And I said, well, it depends on what you mean by change. Do I think you're going to get taller? No. The only thing we can change at this point in our life probably is how we behave.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Now, a question I want to throw out to both of you. Tell me a little bit more based on your experiences. What are the key things leaders have to do to change behavior in a way that sticks over the long term? Kind of to make it real. Love to get your thoughts on this.
First of all, the person has to have a desire to do this. They have to see the benefit to them. If you could just get individuals who are so used to saying, no, 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 here's what we're going to do, to just change some of those behaviors. Now, the key to sustaining it is people start to see the value to them. It improves how things are getting done. You have more involvement with people. Companies are constantly doing engagement surveys. Do you feel engaged? Well, if people don't feel that they're being listened to and their ideas have a fair shot of being implemented, they tend to turn off. And I don't think once you turn off, you feel very much engaged.
So that's the first part on this, getting them to understand and to commit to executing on key behaviors so they can be a more successful leader. So I'd like to turn this over to Frank now. So Frank, once they've made that commitment, they've identified some key behaviors to work on, and they're serious about it, what are the next key steps that they need to do so that they can change their behavior in a way that's going to last and become permanent?
So we build in a process where we have a disciplined method of a leader checking in with the stakeholders on a regular basis, stakeholders providing input. So it's all about repetition and frequency.
So Frank, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. Now, before we wrap this up, what other important thoughts do either one of you have about this whole topic of getting leaders to change behavior? What else is important for the folks out there listening or watching for them to know?
One of the, I think, most brilliant things that Marshall Goldsmith, our collective friend, did in our field was build in measurement. And if you think about measurement, we measure what's important. And so if the behavior change is important, how do you build in a way to measure whether or not a person improved? Number one, it creates an incentive. If you know you're going to get measured, will that help the person persist, follow the discipline and work? And if you take the losing weight, what is the likelihood of someone losing weight? And I'll give you 2 examples. One person, every morning at the same time of day, they get on a scale and weigh themselves. And someone else is going to lose weight. That's their goal. And they don't get on the scale, or they get on very infrequently. Which would you assume would do a better job of actually losing weight?
Well, it would be the first person. I assume if you step on a scale every single day and you look at your weight, you're more aware of what you weigh, and it influences what you eat during the day. Am I correct?
Absolutely, Andy. And remember, the goal isn't every day that it's going to be perfect. The goal is, what is your target? How close are you reaching that target? And the positive reinforcement when that scale starts showing lower and lower slowly over time numbers. And the same happens with leadership behavior.
Thank you both for spending a few minutes talking about this valuable topic. And the way that I'd like to end today's talk is that I have enjoyed having a frank cup of coffee with Frank Wagner and Chris Coffey. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye, Andy.
Andy, thank you for having that frank conversation with me.